Hi, my name is Umberto Mucci and this is We the ItaliaNews, a weekly podcast about Italy. This is the first episode of this new year. Today is Thursday, January 19, 2023. The Italian National Institute of Statistics has released the final inflation figures for 2022 and they are historic. In 2022, the inflation rate in Italy was plus 8.1%, the highest since 1985. The figure was plus 1.9% in 2021. Prices have not risen like this for nearly 4 decades, and in December alone they were 11.6% higher than a year earlier. The increase in 2022 was mainly due to the trend in energy prices, which increased of 50.9%, 50, not 15, 50.9% in 1 year. Effective energy were not considered, the inflation rate would only be at 4.1%. In 2022, the impact of inflation was larger on households with lower spending capacity. For the poorest 20% of households in Italy, prices of goods consumed rose by an average of 12.1%. For the highest 20% of households, on the other hand, the increase was 7.2%. The report also gives indications regarding different Italian regions. Compared to the annual average, there are 11 areas where growth is below average. In Sicily, Trentino Alto Adige, Sardinia, Liguria, Abruzzo, Puglia, Umbria, Veneto, Emilia-Romagna, Friuli, Venezia Giulia, and Tuscany, inflation is below average. In contrast, in Campania, Lombardy, Lazio, Marche, Molise, Piedmont, Basilicata, and Valle d'Aosta, the figure is higher than the average. Calabria is the only region where the inflation rate is equal to the national average. The highest figure is found in the islands, where annual inflation reaches 9.7%. In the northeast, the annual rate touches 8.6%. The south is only slightly above the national average. The 2022 inflation rate is at 8.2%. Finally, below average are the center, with 7.9% in prices, and the northwest, 7.8%. But there are good news regarding energy prices. Italy's regulated household electricity prices will fall by 19.5% in the first quarter of 2023. 41% of Italian households are covered by the regulated price regime for electricity. The relationship between Italians and the state, a report published a few days ago, reveals that in Italy, as in Tommaso di Lampedusa's leopard, everything changes so that everything stays the same. If we look at the path of trust towards the country's main institutions, there is a strong continuity. The indices of consensus towards the state and major local governments have not changed much compared to 20 years ago. The main changes concern territorial entities, municipalities and regions, while the state always appears last in the consideration of citizens. Although the state is not that loved, Sergio Mattarella emerges as the most popular president since Carlo Azeglio Ciampi, who was president from 1999 to 2006. Today, President Mattarella appears clearly more credible than the republic he presides over. On the other hand, more than 6 out of 10 Italians say the country should be led by a strong leader, whether a technician or at any rate a non-politician. And more than 2/3 of citizens say they favor the direct election of the President of the Republic, who, as you know, in Italy today is elected by the Parliament and not by the people. Over the last 20 years, therefore, Italians' attitudes towards institutions have retained their traditional and constitutional foundations. Democracy, according to more than 7 out of 10 Italians, remains the best possible form of government, but it is a personalized, direct, or better yet, immediate democracy, because in our time the new media allow and provide for immediate and unmediated interaction with leaders and institutions. National pride is confirmed to be broad, shared by more than 8 out of 10 Italians, but less intense than in the past, because the share of those who say they are very proud has decreased significantly from 65% to 44%, while the component of those who say they are fairly proud has grown. You know how we the Italians stand on this. We are very critical towards many of our faults, but there's no doubt we're very proud of being Italians. Another data shows how Italian consumers are twice as likely to use a mobile wallet online compared to in-store. On a global scale, Italy emerged fourth in mobile wallet adoption, behind Japan, Germany and Singapore. About a fifth, 20.4% of Italian consumers surveyed reported paying for the last in-store purchase using a mobile wallet. And while that number is an increase from the 18% rate recorded in early 2022, in-store wallet use still lags behind online use. In comparison, 42.2% of Italians reported using a mobile wallet to pay for the last online purchase, the second highest after Germany. The Mediterranean diet ranked once again number one on US News & World Report's list of best diets for 2023. The list includes 24 diets that were examined by a panel of health experts. This is the sixth consecutive year that the Mediterranean diet has been ranked at the top. Along with snagging the best overall category, the Mediterranean diet ranked first for best plant-based diets, best diets for bone and joint health, best family-friendly diets, and best diets for healthy eating. The Mediterranean diet follows the traditions of how residents of countries surrounding the Mediterranean Sea have traditionally eaten. The diet is characterized by eating primarily plant-based foods, including fruits and vegetables, while also feeding in beans, nuts, whole grains, seafood and lean poultry. There is a focus on unsaturated fat from sources like extra virgin olive oil too. An occasional glass of red wine is also considered an acceptable part of the diet. Because of the emphasis on healthy, unsaturated fats, the diet has been associated with a reduced risk of heart disease and stroke, and also has been found to potentially prevent type 2 diabetes, likely reduce the symptoms of inflammatory and autoimmune conditions, including arthritis, and could even help with depression. What else do you need to keep on eating Mediterranean and thus Italian? And talking about food in Italy, Rome has come first in the best food destination in the world in 2020 through Traveler's Choice Best of the Best Destination Awards, an annual list compiled by travel review site Tripadvisor. The rankings are based on the millions of travel reviews and recommendations submitted to the Tripadvisor platform over the past 12 months. Describing Rome as a real-life college of piazzas, open-air markets, and astonishing historic sites, Tripadvisor advises enjoy some of the most memorable meals of your life here, too, from fresh pasta to succulent fried artichokes or a tender oxtail stew. Rome also came fourth in the most popular tourist destinations in the world category, up 2 places from last year in a list headed by Dubai, Bali and London. But we prefer Rome. The good news I'd like to end this episode with regards a huge win about mafia. A few days ago, Italy's most wanted mafia boss Matteo Messina Denaro was arrested in Sicily after 30 years on the run. Messina Denaro was reportedly detained in a private clinic in Sicily's capital, Palermo, where he was receiving treatment for cancer. More than 100 members of the armed forces were involved in his arrest. He is alleged to be a boss of the notorious Cosa Nostra Mafia, and he was tried and sentenced to life in jail in absentia in 2002 over numerous murders. Among the murders he was convicted over are the 1992 killing of anti-mafia prosecutors Giovanni Falcone and Paolo Borsellino, the deadly 1993 bomb attacks in Milan, Florence and Rome, and the kidnapping, torture and killing of the 11-year-old son of a mafioso turned state witness. For years, Messina Denaro has been a symbol of the state's inability to reach the upper echelons of the organized crime syndicates. His arrest is symbolic, not just because he was the boss of Cosa Nostra, but because he represents the last fugitive the Italian state really wanted to get its hands on. So that's a good news. It's all for now, it's all for today. I'll see you next Thursday. We restarted. My name is Umberto Mucci. This was We the ItaliaNews. Please stay safe and stay healthy. Ciao from Rome.